this Data Bytes episode, we will show you how you can concatenate messages that originally belonged to one context but were split across multiple log lines. For example, stack traces or applications that print logs to multiple lines. Using this stack trace as example, take a closer look to how it's structured. The first line starts with a timestamp, and each new line starts with the word at. We will use this logic to create our multi-line parser. Now, let's look and see how it shows in Relic without any custom configuration applied. As you can see, each line of the stack trace shows up as an individual log entry. For agent-side parsing and log distribution, Relic uses fluentbit, an open-source generic multi-platform log processing tool. Let's jump to the fluentbit documentation and see how we can configure it for multi-line log parsing. It's important we look at the documentation for the fluentbit version we currently use. Check New Relic release notes to know which version you're currently using. As you can see here, for our multi-line parser configuration, when matching regex, we have to define states. Some states define the start of a multi-line message, while others define the continuation of those multi-line messages. The regex in our first rule is always called start state. We will need to set this to capture the start of our multi-line message. In our example, this is our timestamp until the end of our first line. Then, we set our next state to specify how the possible continuation lines will look like. They can have custom state names. In our example, this is the lines that start with at. When solving more complex cases, multiple continuation state definitions can be configured. In the example we are about to show you, fluentbit is running on a Kubernetes cluster, and it has been deployed as part of our standard Kubernetes deployment. However, it's worth noticing that our infrastructure agent also supports external fluentbit configuration and parser files. The first step in configuring fluentbit is to define the log parser for all our input messages. This can be done by setting log_parser environmental variable in our New Relic logging daemon set. Our demo is running on AKS, so we need to define CRI as our input log parser. This ensures that each log message is first parsed using CRI parser before handed over to any filters. Let's edit the config map used by fluentbit and add our multi-line parser filter under fluentbit.conf. This filter ensures that each log entry, once parsed by the input log parser, is then parsed using our multi-line parser. Then under parses.conf, let's configure our multi-line parser with the configuration we just discussed. Let's save our changes and restart the New Relic logging pods. Now in New Relic, we can see that our log messages are no longer split across multiple lines, and the full stack trace can be seen as part of a single log entry. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.